Hey, see, dance for your mouth. Hey, see, dance for your mouth. Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, yes, indeed. We are back at it again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We had some technical difficulties, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the live show. We are still doing the damn thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mixture of Variety. I go by the name of Patient Zero. Give it up one time, give it up one time. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get my shit together here. You know what I'm saying? Have some technical difficulties. Technical difficulties don't stop us. You feel me? Technical difficulties don't stop us. We don't stop the show. You know why? Because we keep moving. That's right. MOVE, Mixture of Variety Entertainment. We stay moving forward and never backwards in 2022 and beyond. And let me just tell you this before we get started, okay? 2022, 2021, 2020. I mean, it's been a shit show for the last couple years. And right now, you could just look around and realize what a shit show it really is. Inflation, $5 gas. It's easier to get fentanyl than it is baby formula. And the list goes on, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the Matrix and we are in a huge shithole. Okay? Thank you, Biden administration. So, what we're going to do tonight and what we always do on this show, on this variety show, where we talk about anything and everything. We can talk about mental health and addiction to having sex with gay midget aliens. Ladies and gentlemen, what we do, this is a distraction. Every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, is a distraction. So come join the show and come join the fun. We have a distraction. We always have entertaining shows. We are the most authentic podcast. So when I say we, I mean me and my girl, Nikki P, representing my other half, my co-host, my beautiful co-host at that. And she's not going to be on the show tonight, but she is going to be on the show to next week. Next week. I almost said tomorrow. I don't know why. She will be on the show next week for sure. So look out for that. You don't want to miss it. I know you guys are big, crazy Nikki P fans. Who's not? Who's not a big, crazy Nikki P fan? I mean, come on. If you've been riding out with us for the last year and a half, you already know. Nikki P is where it's at. So I go by the name of Patient Zero, by the way. I don't know if I said that already, but we are on YouTube. You're watching YouTube. You are watching live, or if you can't catch the live show, it's on our YouTube page, youtube.com/C/Mixture of Variety Entertainment. Or you could just Google us, Mixture of Variety, because we are everywhere. We have audio shows. We have IG. Our social media is at Mixture of Variety. You can follow us there, at Mixture of Variety. That's actually where most of our views come from, IG. So make sure to follow us there. And you'll see some of the craziest banners that you'll ever see. And you also get informed and you'll know what time it is when it comes to the show. Each show that we have an audio show on Monday. We have an audio show on Wednesday. And then we have this show on Friday. And let me just point this out because this is new. This is new. Right after this show is recorded, it is also on Spotify video podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Spotify. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Spotify finally came out with a podcast that's a video. So we've been on Spotify for 2 years. We have our audio show. We have like 340 shows. Who's counting? We have 340 shows, ladies and gentlemen. If there's a topic that you thought of, I guarantee that we touched on it and we talked about it. We touch on everything like R. Kelly. You feel me? So that's what that is all about. And I definitely want you to check out our audio shows for sure. But now we have an audio show on Spotify and we have the video. So we're very, very excited about that. And I'm also excited about our special guest, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be talking about mental health awareness. Since it is Mental Health Awareness Month, it still is. We did an audio show, or I did an audio show, Mental Health Awareness Month, and just talk about mental illness and mental health in general. But now we have a special guest that's going to be joining us, and he goes by the name of Glenn B. He's going to be in the building in a second. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. He's going to be in the building in a second, and we're going to jump right into it. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is the most authentic podcast you'll ever see. Our disclaimer is, if you are hypersensitive or get butthurt easy, this podcast is definitely not for you. Sick and twisted, dark humor, vulgar, uncensored language, and politically incorrect conversations are just some of the things, and fun, you'll hear on Mixture of Variety podcast, which means Viewer and listener discretion is definitely advised. All right, give it up one time for the studio audience. Still repping with us. You know, we started late. But it's all good. The studio audience is still with us and still ready to bang out. And we're going to be talking about some mental health shit, if you will. Okay, mental illness, mental health, breaking the stigma, talking about our personal experiences. And ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, hopefully he can hear us now. Ladies and gentlemen, Glenn B is in the building.
And yes, indeed, as the great mixture variety says, I have a cramp and I have audio.
Yes, I'm so happy about that because I didn't know what the fuck was going on, honestly, and everything was cool on my end, and I was just thinking, like, what is happening? This can't happen. We have the infamous Glenn B on the show.
I thought it was a me problem, which it ended up being a me problem. I wasn't plugged in properly, but my girlfriend was saying I can't hear anything either. I'm like, well, then it's not necessarily just a me problem.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm happy that we got it settled. I'm happy that we didn't do the whole show and it was just, mute like on both of our ends. We were just having our own conversation and nobody on YouTube land can hear us. That would have sucked. So here we are. And yeah, so Glenn, before we go any further, I mean, if you want to introduce yourself and talk about your podcast for a little bit, and then at the end of the show, of course, you can promote and plug anything you want.
Sure. So I am Glenn B, aka Stinky Dad. I've been podcasting for a couple of years and have a number of podcasts that are all quite stalled right now. Because I am a dad. I'm a stay-at-home dad of a 4-month-old baby, and I also have an 11-year-old. And so that keeps me busy, and I haven't really put out much audio content as of late. But of course, it's easy to find. Just Google Stinky Dad and think Canada and put a CA at the end of that. And I don't really have anything to per se plug at the moment. Me and my girlfriend are planning on doing a show, but ultimately that's still sort of on the ground level and not really something I can say much about at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it gives you something to talk about next time you're on the show because
exactly.
Hopefully this will be one of several appearances because honestly, before we even talk about mental illness, mental health awareness month, I mean, I got to give you a big shout out because Glenn B over here, ladies and gentlemen, has really been a supporter, let's just say, a supporter of me and Nikki since way back in the day, since we started this shit. Really, honestly, back in 2020, he was like one of the first, real supporters that was there all the time and listening and, enjoying the show, but giving us good feedback and also becoming a friend of the show. And, over the last couple of years, the conversations that we had and, shit that you've been through, shit that I've been through, and the podcasting in general, mental health wise and other, I definitely do consider you a friend. So big shout out to Glenn B. You have a supporter and a friend down here in the States, at any time.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes. I quite enjoy your show. I mean, I don't think I was like right at the beginning because I think you're on Castbox first, and then when you moved over to the good old Podbean, that's when I met you, and that's when I made it my goal to try and throw you off whatever train of thought you were on.
Yes, yeah, definitely. There was a lot of that going on, which is actually one of the reasons why I don't have the live chat ever going ever. I don't know if it's like ADHD thing. It probably is an ADHD thing, but I can't, as you know, as soon as the chat starts going or people start talking and it keeps, it gets my attention enough for me to actually say something or want to respond back, then the whole show just goes left, from that.
Yeah. I mean, when I was doing lives and even when I kind of go back to it every now and then, I had the exact same problem. The minute something happens in chat, I'm like, oh, wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then it's like what I was talking about, it's gone. We're now on to something else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got the spammers and the, what are they called? Not spammers.
Trolls?
Yeah, the trolls. The trolls come through, oh my God, that's too much to handle as well because they'll just take up the entire chat. And want all the attention from any podcast, and they'll literally jump from podcast to podcast. That's what I've noticed. Like if it's a platform like Podbean or something like that, where there's just open chats for people to jump into, it'll just be one after another after another.
Oh yeah, all the time.
It's really ridiculous, but that's just their job, Just like haters. Haters are doing their job. Trolls are just doing their job.
I don't mind some trolling. Like some trolling is okay. Like sometimes they can actually say something it's like a heckler at a comedy show. Every now and then you get that one heckler that actually made the show better because the comedian did a good job of playing off it. There's some trolls that actually like kind of make it better to where they say something that's actually like worthwhile and good. But most of the time, they're not.
Yeah, exactly. So even from way back then, and it's funny that you even mentioned Castbox because we were on Castbox just maybe for like a couple months and we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. You know what I mean? So Podbean was really the start of it all. And here we are. Here we are on YouTube land. And like I was saying before, we're actually now on Spotify video because Spotify finally decided to make a video podcast instead of just audio. So we have like 340 episodes on Spotify. But now we have the last couple episodes that we did on YouTube. We just uploaded to Spotify. So that's pretty cool, I would say.
Okay. So now we're live on the YouTube, and you can also watch it on Spotify later.
Exactly.
Kind of almost feels weird saying that, don't it? You can watch it on Spotify.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't feel like a watching platform, but yeah, here we are in 2022, and we're not watching stuff on Spotify.
Yeah, exactly. And what I really like is that we have to watch our tongue on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff that we can't say. We got a strike. We got, so many situations that happen with me and Nikki P on YouTube that we really have to kiss YouTube's ass, basically. And there's just certain things that I want to talk about so bad that I can't. But I do on the audio show. So now if I'm, feeling frisky, I can record a show like I would do an audio show and just put it up on podcasts put it up on Spotify and that'll be that. You know what I mean? They can't say anything and I can really go balls to the wall. So that'll be fun.
Let's hope that I don't say something ridiculous to get you in trouble
then. No. I think we're good. We are talking about mental health awareness. So what are your thoughts just on that alone? Just mental health awareness. I mean, mental health is so important.
I know just over my lifetime, like the whole idea of mental health awareness has gone from something that you kind of like, you kind of chuckled about and people said it. You're just like, who are you? Like go cry in a corner, bud. Like this big baby sitting here talking about your mental health. What the hell is this? Your legs hurt? No. Your back hurt? No. You got a roof over your head? Well, you're good to go. Shut up. And now it's kind of like, it's like, even like you hear about like actors and celebrities and they're all talking about, like wellness doesn't just mean your body. Like I can be in really good shape. And if I'm in really bad shape, between my ears, I'm in bad shape. It doesn't really matter. I can have a 6-pack and 3% body fat. If it's not good between your ears, you're not good. And so I just find that like just the level of, well, I guess awareness really, but just the level of acceptance of the awareness. And it's no longer like something that people roll their eyes at it. It's something that even the toughest of tough guys will come out and say, you know what, like I was in a bad place and, I was in a closet ready to do something to myself. And so yeah. I think that like, it's good that like, there's like several days like that. There's that article you had sent me and they were talking about how World Mental Health Awareness Day is actually in October, but yet America has their own month in whatever month it is right now, May.
Yes, right.
And so I know in Canada we have Bell Media and they have Bell Let's Talk Day on I think January 24th. But the whole premise is you use the hashtag Bell Let's Talk on any social media or in any text message through a Bell phone. And they don't donate 5 cents to mental health issues. I don't remember.
Oh, wow.
So, it's just like, it seems like all everywhere seems to be getting more into it. Like sports teams are now acknowledging it. It's like, oh, we're going to give a guy a day off because, his head's not right. Think about 40 years ago, a guy's head's not right. He's just out of the league, go home.
Yeah.
Come back when you're ready.
Exactly. I mean, and that was really well said. It was a beautiful thing as far as like breaking the stigma, because that's the whole thing. There's people that will not even think about getting help. Or like the thought won't even cross their mind because of the stigma, and they're going to be labeled a certain way, and people are going to start talking about them, and society's going to blame them or look at them as something, and society's going to really tear them down, and they're not going to know where to turn, and that's going to lead them to really not really doing something harmful to themselves or really putting themselves in a tough place where before they just needed to talk to somebody. Now they have severe depression. They're not leaving the bed for 2 weeks. It is definitely considered mental illness. Mental illness in general is considered a invisible disease.
It's very much invisible. I remember some powerful imagery back when, I don't remember when it was, but it was before I had like a real like personal experience with like being down the dumps mentally. But anyway, it had this guy, and like he's smiling, but then it like shows like his like brain, and he's curled up in like fetal position crying.
Yes.
And it says, it's basically depression. It isn't something that you can see. Like,
Right.
you can't look at a person and say, oh, you go to the doctor's not going to go, oh, I was checking, your health, and, I felt under your armpit, and it seems you have depression.
Right. Exactly.
It's not something it is. It's like, you take people at their word a lot of the time. It's like, how are you? I'm good. And you're
Yep.
okay, he's good. Like, you're not going to ask any further questions. He's good. Until 3 days later, you hear he's like, God forbid, getting his funeral planned or like in hospital or whatever. And you're like, but he said he was good 3 days ago. What happened?
Right.
And as you said, it's invisible. You can't see it. It's not something that like, it's like you can see a lot of other things, but you can't see that.
If you see somebody
in the air.
Yes, exactly. And that fake smile, it says it all, because physically that's all we have to do. If we have to go, if we're with a significant other, if we're at a job, or if we're at an outing, whatever it is, and you're around family for the holidays, and you put on that fake smile, boom, everything is fine. You don't even ask any questions. And then as soon as you go back to your apartment, or as soon as you go back to your house, or wherever you at, and you shut that door, it's a total different story. And luckily now people are getting a little bit more comfortable, is like you said, like to actually reach out and to say something. If you see somebody within your day, your just day-to-day activities, if you see somebody in a wheelchair, you see somebody with one leg, you see somebody blind, suffering like that, you instantly look at them and you have sympathy for them, if not empathy for them, and it's just like, oh my God. But obviously with that fake smile, you're not ever going to know what's going on. It's that person that needs to feel safe and comfortable to actually reach out and get help.
Yeah, I find like just like the, I need help. It's a lot of the time it's like, a lot of the people, they don't want like the conventional routes of getting help. It's like, yeah, as much as we're like promoting mental health awareness, the idea of going to a therapist or a counselor is still unsettling, even if you need help. It's like when I was battling it, I would have really, 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 really rather preferred to talk to like you or one of my other friends that I know on the internet, basically, that, are not going to show up on my house. I don't want to talk to someone that's going to show up at my house. I just want to talk to someone, but I didn't want to go to a counselor or a therapist because, I felt like, I had admitted to myself that I failed at controlling my own mental health, which, just made my mental health worse.
Yeah.
For a time. And I did the counseling and it worked, but getting to that point was torturous.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I remember being in some of the darkest places that I've ever been in my life, and I knew for sure that I needed to skip therapy, or I was already in therapy and I was already on medication, and I really was already at that point where something really bad was going to happen, and I had to call like mobile mental health. But that's exactly the opposite that you just said, because mobile mental health will come exactly, they'll come directly to your house. And for the most part, if you call mobile mental health, I don't know if they have that in Canada, something similar.
We call it mobile crisis.
Okay, yeah, mobile crisis, mobile mental health. They come to your house, then you already know. You need them, because you know you're in that much of a crisis and you're about to lose it. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to kill yourself. You're going to do something to other people. And then what are the chances of them taking you away to a psych ward? Very high chance.
Yeah.
If they're coming to your house and they're like, accessing the situation and seeing what's going on, they're going to take you to the psych ward most likely. And people don't want to deal with that shit. That's the last thing that people want to deal with.
Well, actually, here half the time they just end up in like jail. Like a lot of the time it's like, they're calling mobile crisis, but right before that they like broke someone's car windows and like smashed up something and like did a few illegal things that
Yeah.
And then like, well, I have mental issues. I need to go to the psych ward, and they're like, well, you can go to court first.
Yeah, right. And you know what? And that's exactly what happened with this Buffalo shooter, the mass murder, which down here in the States, like we hear something like that and we say, at this point, oh, wow, that's tragic. And then we continue watching our TV show, or we continue, going to work, or we continue cooking dinner or whatever it is. It's so like, we're so desensitized to that shit.
Yeah.
Now that it's like just another day, Well,
I mean, like, I don't even pay attention now. It's like, there's like in the news that there's like a mass shooting in the States, and it's just like, oh yeah, I just kind of move on with my day. And like, it doesn't even really hit home because it's just so common. It seems like every few months it's happening. I'm just like, it no longer has that shock value. It's like there's a mass shooting in whatever city in the States today. More on this at 6. It's like 20 years ago. You're like, fuck, I got tuned in at 6, and now it's like, maybe I'll tune in at 11. Maybe I'll hear about tomorrow. Whatever. Yeah,
right. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I like doing podcasts like this, because it's helping us out, but it's helping other people out. And that's honestly the whole reason why I wanted to start doing a podcast in the first place, was to help people with mental illness, mental health issues, and addiction. That's why I wanted to get into the podcast business, at first. And then it just branched off into this. Right. And then it just branched off into a variety show. But all I wanted to do was help these people. So if I can help someone like that, I mean, that's like that's the best thing that could possibly happen out of doing a podcast, is someone actually listens to, or somebody actually watches, and it actually changes, or their perspective on things, and they actually reach out for help or whatever it is. I mean, that would be the most beautiful thing in the world.
Well, you still have that one feather in your cap for that one show on Podbean where you talked to a guy basically out of suicide, like live on your show, did you not?
Yes.
Like whether that was someone just like trying to like do a really rude joke or not. I mean, that was a cool feather in your cap. I wasn't there for it, but it was really cool.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it was a joke. I really don't think it was. I mean, it's very hard to tell with through a chat room, of course, but I really don't think that was a joke. There was somebody actually, that wanted to commit suicide and was going to commit suicide, and we basically had to shift the show because we were talking about mental illness, mental health and stuff like that, but we actually had to shift the show to like, okay, here's the suicide hotline, and if you want to text, text this number. And that was crazy, man. I never forget that show. I never forget that. That was something.
Oh, I was thinking this like about an hour ago. How they have like the suicide line or whatever, but like, how come they don't have a hotline for just someone that's like, just down the dumps and just like literally need someone just to hear them out, like whatever it is. It could be something like fucking obscure, like their dog died or whatever, but they just need that one person just like that has no skin in the game, just to sit there and go, that sucks, and just like but they don't have that. It's like you have to be like ready to kill yourself before there's a hotline you can just call to have someone listen to you. And I feel like we could have a hotline for like before it gets there, so that suicide line isn't as big of a deal.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea, because again, the same thing's going to happen if you get to that point and you just want to talk because you're having a bad day or something really bad happened. You just want to talk to somebody and not have somebody, like the cops or mobile mental health or something like that come to your house. Because again, if you call on a suicide hotline, they're going to be thinking that. They're going to be thinking that you're in that much of a crisis that you need the cops to come or something like that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, because Absolutely. Like, yeah, it just seems like, we could really do a little more in that respect, because I know like when I went to the counselor, by the time I got through, like, you want to do it online? It's like, okay, I'll try that. And it's like, oh no, because you thought about killing yourself in the last month. We can't do it online. And then it's like, okay,
Right.
I'll do it in person. So you call to do it in person, and it's like, well, I mean, how bad is it? How you feel like today? Well, fine today, but 3 days ago I was ready to off myself, and they're like, well, blah blah blah. There's the suicide hotline, yada yada yada. It's like, thank you, and so then it's 6 weeks. 6 weeks to see someone in person. So then it's like you're fighting it for another 6 weeks before you ever get to talk to anyone. It's like, you almost need like a hotline for that, like, just that in between period where you're not getting any counseling, you're not getting any therapy, but there's that person that's willing to listen to you and not care. They don't have any skin in the game, because one thing I learned in Buddhism was you can't help someone if you're attached to them. So like if you care about the person, like you care about their well-being, you can't really help them in that state because you care about the outcome. It's like,
Right.
If their job is depressing them, they just want to like up and quit their job, and the rent's due and they don't have money for rent, blah blah blah, and they're going to be on the street. If you care about the person, you're like, well, I can't let you quit your job. I don't care how depressed it's making. You need to pay your rent. You need to stay in your house. Where if it's someone that doesn't particularly have any concern, it's like, well, you okay living on the street? Yeah. All right, quit your job. Because the outcome doesn't matter to them. They just want the person to feel better. They don't particularly care what the other things are in the whole game of things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. That's very true. And on that note, let's just put this up here so people can actually see. I know it's kind of small, but 1-800-273-TALK. I mean, it's Mental Health America. I guess it's through. I don't know how serious the crisis has to be. I don't know if it is something that, like you were talking about, if you just need to talk to somebody and they're not going to send somebody out and they're not going to be up your ass about it. I'm not sure exactly, but even better is to text MHA to 741-741. And that information obviously is on here, and I'm going to put it down on the comments below. And then you have these sites too that I'll copy and paste as Mental Health America, suicide crisis lines, suicide prevention lines.
Can I jump in here? It turns out that Canada actually has a different line. Being that I am in Canada, the Canada's suicide prevention service is 1-833-456-4566. If you're located in the Great White North, like I am, do not call the number on the screen right now.
Yes, absolutely. Good. You know what? Just text me that when we're done with the show, and I'll put that down there as well. I'll put it on the comments.
Well, do you want me to put it in the StreamYard chat?
Oh yeah, that's even better.
Okay, I'll do that. Verbally without bumping a whole bunch of stuff while I'm at it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good, because we want to help people everywhere, and especially if you're from Canada, obviously don't call those numbers.
Yeah, and I mean, like when it's minus like 45 in either Celsius or Fahrenheit, it's really hard not to feel a little depressed by that.
Yeah, right.
Especially as a dad who then has to deal with his kid being inside the whole time and seeking to him for entertainment.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, so here is the educational part of the show. What are the 4 mental illnesses? I mean, it looks like there's more than 4 here, but anxiety disorders, including panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and phobias. That's like 4 right there. So I don't know why they put 4, but yeah, those are all pretty popular.
Well, I guess it would be like this, like the branches, like there's anxiety would be considered like panic, obsessive compulsive, or phobias, whereas depression would be like mood swings, and eating,
right,
like bulimia, anxiety, and whatever the other ones are, stress eating maybe.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, because eating disorder, I mean, they're all definitely separate, but a lot of them are combined together. Unfortunately, a lot of people have more than one. And really, unfortunately, the last 2 years, everybody and their mom has anxiety and depression. And a lot of it, you have to talk to a professional, and sometimes you don't, but it's situational. if you just have situational anxiety because it's the fear of the unknown and you don't know what's going on with the, you know what I'm saying, that I can't say on YouTube. You don't know what the next step with that's going to be, and if you are going to get another one, and if what's going to happen next is if it's going to mutate, and et cetera, et cetera. That obviously gives everybody anxiety for the last 2 years. So, but it's still situational. You know, it's one of those things that you feel that it's affecting your day to day, where like depression, you can't leave your bed for 2 weeks and you lose your job. Anxiety, you can't, be around people, you can't drive. The anxiety is so bad. I mean, sometimes it gets to that point. And then maybe you would need some medication. Maybe you need to talk to somebody. If it's just, what everybody is feeling, I don't think it's really that much to talk about, because you can always talk to somebody else that feels the same way as you.
Can I jump in for a sec?
Yeah.
So you talked about depression and you described it as not being able to get out of bed for 2 weeks. And I feel like that's an extreme case, and that's not how all depression looks. Depression doesn't have to be you're in bed for 2 weeks. Like, if like you normally like hang out with your wife and play card games on Saturdays, but now you spend your time scrolling through Instagram Reels, watching cute puppy videos because it makes you feel good. You're still depressed, whether you didn't get out of bed for 2 weeks or not.
Oh, I feel you, and I agree with that. I mean, I don't want to like that was really just an extreme example. That's definitely what it was. It was just, I'm just thinking about like if it's more situational or if it's like clinically diagnosed depression, where it really is to that point where you're not eating, you're not getting out of bed, and you're not showering, and you lose your job. That's pretty much the extreme.
Out of curiosity, is there a stat for what percentage of people who have depression are diagnosed clinically with depression? And I think the video froze up, or at least it did on my end.
Oh, is it back? Is it back now?
No, I'm still frozen, but audio is good, so I don't care.
Okay, you should come back in a second. You're moving on my end, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's probably just me.
No, I don't know the stats actually with that. I really don't know, because there's a lot of people that are depressed, if it's situational or not, that never see somebody and never actually get that clinical diagnosis. You know what I mean? There's obviously a lot of people that will never get to that point and just try to live their life with that fake smile and still be depressed and live like that, and it would never be counted. You know what I mean? So that's a really good question. I'm not sure.
Well, it's kind of like, with that thing you're not supposed to mention or whatever. And I got it or whatever, but I never called the hotline or anything about it. I just kind of dealt with it and moved on with my time. So, like, I was never ever part of that stat. Like, I was never considered to be a positive because, I never informed anyone.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
Like, there's probably like a lot. There's probably like, they talk about like 30% of people battle with depression. That's just 30% of people that like went and got help and admitted to it. That's not accounting for whatever percentage of people like are dealing with it, but are stubborn or just don't feel the need to do anything about it.
Right, 100%. That's a good point, and that actually brings me to addiction too, because there's how many people they say that use drugs and alcohol or that suffer from addiction, and then how many people are never going to. You're never going to find out that statistics of that, because they would never OD'd, or they never went to the hospital, or they never did whatever, or they're functioning addicts or whatever it is. But I do know that the percentage of addicts who suffer from some type of mental illness is like in the 80% range.
Yeah, it tends to be like some sort of like addiction related type thing, usually in most cases, whether that be booze or some sort of opioid or whatever. Like, it's almost like once you start fiending, I don't know if that's the right word that we want to use in this particular thing, but that just brings out the issues, whether it be, because they're self medicating.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And I mean, that's where I could bring like my 2 cents into this as well, because some of the darkest places that I've reached in my life was through self-medicating, because I didn't even know what was going on in my life. I actually have anxiety, regular general anxiety disorder, it's actually called, and depression, but I'm on a bunch of medications, as you know. And maybe some of you guys watching know. And I'm always like an open book when it comes to that, because I feel like that's another way to break the stigma of medications. Because if I say I'm on 6 psych medications, oh, some people will think that's embarrassing. Some people will think patient zero is crazy. Well, you're right about that. But, you know, whatever you want to think that about your, like, have your opinions. I don't give a fuck, because I'm still living my life. And it took me a long time for me to be stable and for me to be okay in this world with 6 medications. Not saying that you have to have 6 medications. I'm not talking to you, Glenn. I'm talking generally, you know, not saying that that's okay for everybody, but it is okay for me. And since 16 years old of using drugs and alcohol, and, you know, getting to the point of where I was with drugs and alcohol, it's like I would much rather take these drugs than those drugs, obviously. You know, no comparison. Oh shit, did we lose Glenn? Did we lose Glenn? Oh, let's see if he comes back. I wonder what happened. As we're waiting for Glenn to come back, I'm sure he's going to come back any second. But yeah, so these are obviously the main ones. You know, I know personally and or suffered from anxiety disorders, panic disorders, OCD, phobias, depression, bipolar disorder is what I am diagnosed with, and other mood disorders, eating disorders, personality disorders, post-traumatic stress disorders, and psych disorders, including schizophrenia, which I believe is probably the worst one. I believe schizophrenia is probably the worst mental illness that you can have. But mental illness, we're just going through the mental illnesses. It doesn't mean that your mental health is whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, you want to make sure your mental health is on point. Not saying that you have to be diagnosed or undiagnosed depression, anxiety, bipolar, whatever it is. Your mental health, your mental well-being has to be on point. Your mental well-being, your mental health overall. Like Glenn was saying earlier, it's all about what's in between your ears. It doesn't matter if you are ripped and you're in physical shape and your life is all together and you're financially okay. It doesn't matter. It's all about what's in between your ears that really counts. So how to observe Mental Health Awareness Month, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself. That's number one. Take care of yourself. There's nothing more important than that. Let me see. Here we go. Take care of yourself. There's nothing more important than that. Regardless of what it is. Life has numerous ups and downs. Some are solvable, but others not so much. When your mental health acts up, seek the right treatment and make yourself better, because after all, life has much more to offer than pain and suffering. Okay, everybody, if you get nothing else from the podcast, please get that, because that is where it's at. Like I said, I started doing this podcast to help people with mental illness and mental health issues and addiction. And if you just hear that, maybe just hearing that will help you get a better night's sleep and wake up and feel like you can conquer the world. And it always is, one day at a time. Take care of your loved ones. Check up on your friends and family. That's so important too, because the more that we check up, the more that nothing like the Buffalo situation happens, or another incident where the person is in the psych ward, an incident where the person hurts themselves, an incident where they kill themselves, God forbid. These are people that need to be checked up on. And even with that fake smile, if you know them well enough, you can see right through it, and you can do whatever you want. You can to help them. Many times, all people need is a shoulder to cry on and an ear to listen to. Like I said before, I'm going to be putting down all the numbers below. I'm going to be putting down the Canadian numbers as well, and the suicide hotline and whatnot. And that's just, for everybody. But sometimes you don't even need a number. Sometimes it's not even to that point yet, but you don't want it to get to that point. You want to talk to somebody. So you can be that person to talk to. You could be that ear to listen or that shoulder to cry on. Support and encourage them and being treated, because they're being treated for any mental problems. And a lot of that goes both ways too, because if you're an ear for somebody and you guys start talking and then you feed off of each other, and that's just how it works. That's just how human beings work and how we talk to each other. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, breaking the stigma, talking about breaking the stigma, talk about mental health. One of the best ways to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month is talking about it with your peers. That's exactly what we're doing here. The more you talk about it, the more normalized it becomes. This is one of the aims of the month, as the stigma attached to mental health has led to countless delays in treatment and research on the matter. Yes, it does suck that sometimes if you really need help or you think you need to see a therapist or see a psychiatrist, and the waiting period is months, if not several weeks, you have to maintain until that actually happens, and you have to maintain your pain and hope it doesn't get any worse. And it's really difficult, but you have to do whatever you can do to possibly sustain. The more you talk about it, the more normalized it will become. This is one of the aims of the month, of the entire month, and the stigma attached to mental health has led to countless delays and countless delays in treatment and research in this matter. Okay, hold up. We got Glenn back in the building. Yo.
I got the baby. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. You got the baby. Yes, indeed.
So you had to come see Dad for a minute first, and I figured that I could show him off to my buddy Patient Zero.
Oh,
but
of course.
He's busy looking at Mom. He doesn't care. He's not even paying attention.
Wait. I'm gonna put you on the screen. Hold on, real quick.
Say hi.
Oh, how cute.
All right, I'm gonna give him back to his mom, and we can get back to the regular scheduled programming.
All right. Yes. I just talked about some of the things that we kind of talked about already, like how the ways to observe Mental Health Awareness Month, taking care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and talk about mental health so we can break the stigma. Okay, so we're down here. So if let me see. Celebration of mental health. I guess that continues on our kind of like what we're saying as far as breaking the stigma. The only way to enjoy life to its fullest is experience all the wonders. And to experience all the wonders is if we take care of ourselves mentally and physically. That's what you were saying before. And that's what I was saying when you got cut out. It's all between your ears, like you were saying earlier. Doesn't matter if you're financially set and you're ripped and you have the best relationship and all this, whatever. Doesn't matter. Don't shy away from talking about what's plaguing you because it might not be your fault, no matter how much society tells you otherwise. Breaking the stigma, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking the stigma. What do you think about that one, Glenn?
Oh, you got to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, it's just eating you alive inside.
That's it.
It's like you can't sit there and like quietly be depressed and expect it to just like suddenly one day go away. It's just gonna change and evolve and grow as time goes on. What started out as a minute, obscure problem is now a massive, in-your-face problem, and it gets bad.
Yeah, exactly. It just grows and continues to grow, and it doesn't show unless you show it. And by showing it means reaching out for some type of help, even if it's a friend. Talk to a friend. Reach out. Say, "Yo, friend, this is what's going on. I feel like this," because it's really, when you do something like that, you're actually helping the other friend too.
Yeah.
You're actually helping.
Well, I know, like I hadn't really dealt with depression much, like as a major thing. When I first started like attending your show, and you talking about it actually educated me in like different tips and tools that I use to be able to like keep it under wraps for months before it really hit a fan and became a now issue.
Yeah.
So I guess it on some level, you're the reason that I didn't deal with my mental health right away, and you're also the reason that it didn't become a problem right away.
Hey, all right. No, listen, I mean, I'm happy that it got to the point where you reached out. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't have to reach out. I was actually very happy about that, and I was happy that I can help a little bit, whatever. But the fact that you actually reached out just said that you were to that point. Because the people that don't reach out to a friend or a therapist or a psychiatrist, and they have to wait 6 months to see a specialist or whatever like that, those are the ones that people really need to watch.
Yeah. I know that like I think part of my mental health, and my girlfriend is in the room while I say this, is dealing with a pregnant woman is very difficult at times. And I feel like that escalated the severity of it and the time frame of it. But we're all good now. There's the baby, and I haven't had issues since the arrival with the baby, and I haven't really left the house. So uh, to, being able to
Yeah.
stay happy without getting cabin fevers while dealing with the baby is probably pretty good. So
Hell yeah.
smiling babies
That's
are always
really
good.
good. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. Sometimes, again, I guess you would call that situational something, right? Situational, I don't know, situational depression, situational anxiety, a little both, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it was like accumulation of things too. I mean, like there was stuff I hadn't dealt with like from a year and a half earlier that it
yeah,
kind of just all kind of came running forward in my face. It just kind of like, it Muhammad Ali me against while I was up against the ropes.
yeah,
It just
yeah,
kind of like came in. I was trying to duck and weave, and it just kept on zigging and zagging and smacking me in the face.
yeah. Yep, I hear you. I hear you. Life as a gay man is no fun. Let me just put it that way. Like it took me decades to get to a point where I was actually okay with myself. And that was just another thing that fueled my addiction. That was another thing that fueled my mental illness. That was another thing that fueled my, fear of this world and the anxiety and everything else that comes with it. And obviously severe depression. And, whatever these things happen, whatever it is that's going on in your life that is, what are you going to do? You can't push away far enough where you're going to just jump off a cliff. You have to deal with it, and that's
You're telling me
exactly what breaking.
you're telling me meth and random a-holes wasn't fun? What? I thought that sounded like a hell of a time.
Oh, that was a hell of a time, bro. That was a hell of a time. That was a hell of a time. Yes, that was one of those things that I guess the after effect is where the depression came in. But yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun times. Don't get me wrong. Yes, indeed.
Disclaimer: he does not recommend anyone in the audience that if you haven't got into meth and random bump holes to start.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend it. Wouldn't recommend it.
Would you
But
recommend it without the meth? Like if it was just random bump holes, do you recommend it?
actually, not anymore because that can actually be degrading as well. What I've learned, um, taking taking all of the love out of just hooking up is kind of degrading after a while. But once again, it's fun to begin with, and then it's degrading and horrible and depressing, and just like a meth bathhouse. The best time of my life, and then obviously after the after effect was not so good. You know?
Well, yeah. I think that would apply to pretty much any substance that can put you out of your mind for an extended period of time. Like even going on like a weekend drinking bender or whatever. I mean, it's great while you're in it, but like Monday,
Yeah,
Tuesday, Wednesday, aren't.
yeah, exactly. It's hard to keep that balance. There is no balance because it fucks with your dopamine level so much that it just like depletes it all. Like you have no dopamine left, so everything is just boring and dull, and you're not excited about anything, and it's just pretty
I
terrible.
don't. I know for me, ecstasy became one of those things that like the week after was just like horrible. It was just like it's just like you're on the brink of crying like pretty much all day long for like a week because you drain so much of your happy feelings away that you're left with this like
Yeah,
Eeyore type feeling set that you to deal with throughout the
yeah,
day. It's like, oh, this isn't working for me.
yeah, exactly, absolutely. So speaking of meth sex dungeons, it's a celebration of changing attitudes. Number two, we have come a long way from the times when mental patients were treated as outcasts. Okay, well, yes, we have. Not only by their loved ones, but also by medical professionals. I'm not sure exactly what that means. So if you wait and you actually get your appointment, you wait 6 months and you see a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is going to tell you, go somewhere with that mess. I don't want to hear that. Why are you here? Like, you could fix that yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't really work. I mean, I always had like this idea for like this like kind of skit in my mind where this person goes to therapy and like the therapist just doesn't give two flying hoots about what's going on. And like I had like I think I had this like premise for this guy that goes to therapy and the therapist is just a mooch for his weed. So the
Oh
therapist
yeah.
is like, hey, you got any joints? I got a joint. Smoke it with me. And after he's done, he's like, so can I tell you my problems? No, I think it's lunchtime.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's the thing about therapists though, I must say, is that they don't understand sometimes they have people's lives in their fucking hand. And I've had so many therapists throughout my life that like right away I'll know if you're an asshole if I start the session and you look at the clock, you look at the time or the clock or whatever, or your watch for more than 2 times during the session. You're out.
It's like basically you're like, oh, am I done yet? Like,
Yeah.
when's my golf coming up? I think you've told that story on
Yeah,
your
yeah.
show before, haven't you? Like,
Yeah.
just like your experience where like your therapist was like, look at the clock every 2 minutes while you're talking, and you're like, am I boring you? Like, I'm
Yeah.
paying you
yeah.
to be here. Like, the least you could do is pretend you're interested.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely have talked about that. And I've talked about the fact that my newer therapist over the last like couple of years, how therapists will sit down and be like, all right, well, I want to get to know you. So what was your childhood like or something like that? And I'm just like, no, let's fast forward, 30 years. I got a lot to talk about, fuck my childhood. Right now, I had a fucked up childhood to a certain extent, but let's not talk about that right now. We have other issues to talk about. That's how I have to talk about. That's how I have to talk to therapists. Like I don't let them be in control of the session.
Well, I mean, I assuming like therapy is something you pay for. Like I'm assuming there aren't like pro bono therapists much around.
No.
So I mean, like, shouldn't you be the one running your session, talking about the shit that you want to talk about? It's great that they have a PhD on their wall and whatever else, but ultimately, like, it's you paying them for the service. You're paying them for their expertise and whatever issue you have right now. That doesn't matter what their fucking curiosity and ego padding deep dives are in store. I lost that, but you know what I was trying to say.
No, exactly. I know exactly what you're trying to say. And psychiatrists are even worse than therapists because psychiatrists will see you for like 10 minutes and all they really do is, okay, why don't you try this medication? Oh, you had a bad reaction and that sent you to the hospital. Okay, why don't you try this medication? Oh, you had horrible side effects that you missed work for a week.
Farmer
okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like you're just giving it a shot. You're just like, okay, well, let me try this mixed with this and hope I don't die. Kind of like street drugs.
I figure that like if psychiatrists were kind of like streamers, of like there was like the psychiatry Twitch stream, it would be like like today we have psychiatrist Dr. Bernstein on, presented by Big Pharma. Do you need pills in your life? Enter promo code Dr. Bernstein 20 and get 20% off your first batch of antipsychotics. Yeah, that's probably what it would be because, like, they'd all be in with whatever. I didn't want to give any particular pharmaceutical company any props in the thing, but
No, that was great. You got me sold. I would try some of that shit, whatever. As long as I had the promo code.
Well, exactly. Without the promo code, what the hell does it matter? Like,
right.
God knows that they're probably like bumping up the prices 45% anyway. Bastards.
Yeah, exactly. Promo code side effect 69. Get back to me.
Yeah. Side effects may include 69ing all night long.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a celebration of humans. Let's just put it that way. And that's where we're going to end it because, it is. It's a celebration of humans. It's a celebration of you taking care of yourself and looking out for others and doing whatever you can do to help other people's mental health. Because honestly, helping other people's mental health issues or just mental health in general and just talking to them and just being a good friend, being a good coworker, being a good whatever, you never know. You can change that person for life.
And remember to shut up. And when someone
Yeah.
needs help, remember to shut up. Like, stop talking. Just
Yes.
sit there and listen. Like, don't talk.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I hate when like you go to someone with a problem and like that you get 3 words in and they're like off on some like tirade about whatever, and it's like, no, I didn't need to listen to you. I wanted to talk. And I
Yes.
wanted you just to sit there and smile and nod and probably not say much of anything. But I just want to get whatever I had to say off my chest. And that's why you
Yes.
pay a therapist or a psychiatrist or a counselor, is so you can go there and you can say what you want to say and not have someone
Yes.
decide to litter your ears with more information that's not going to help you right now.
Absolutely. It is difficult to have a friend like that because they're not a therapist and they know exactly when to talk and when not to and when to bring up certain issues. But if we all have a friend. I already know somebody, but like you talk to somebody and as soon as you say, yeah, this was my day today, this is what happened and I'm not sure exactly what to do. Oh, well, that happened to me. And when it happened to me, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, nah, bitch, come on, listen to me.
Yeah,
Listen to me. Let me talk.
about you.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave your ego and your own problems at the door, please. I just need someone to listen.
Exactly. That's just what it is about. So just remember to do that and help each other. And hopefully Glenn B and myself help you guys as well. And that is Mental Health Awareness Month podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to check us out. All our shows on YouTube. Remember to check us out on our audio show as well, Spotify and everywhere else, basically. Monday and Wednesday, we have new episodes, the audio show. After this show is done, it's going to be on Spotify video, so make sure to check us out on Spotify video podcast as well. Glenn B, our special guest, any last words or anything else you want to plug or say?
Well, I mean, if you want to listen to some old content and possibly give a bookmarking to the podcast website that has like 5 okay podcasts on it anyway, stinkydad.ca, the home of all my audio content. You can go there, check out what's going on. There's like a show with an 11-year-old where he pretends to be a cop and I have to convince him that he doesn't have to shoot every bad guy. There's me pretending that I do a news show and all my stories are completely fake and completely made up. We have like a serial farter that causes people to puke in bars and shit like that. I have story time with Sticky Dad, which is like, kid stories. Basically, like stories about the cat and like his adventures when it decides it's going to leave the house when it's in heat. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, the website's the end all be all of everything Stinky Dad. And you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram, Stinky Dad 87. Other than that, I think I'm good now.
All right, there you go.
Hopefully I'll be back.
Absolutely, you'll be back for sure. I mean, we won't have any technical difficulties at all. Everything's going to run smoothly. But the thing is that the people that are watching now and the uploaded show, they won't even know that we had any technical difficulties. Actually, I did say something earlier, but they won't even know. The rest of the show went fine. So, yeah. Glenn B, thanks so much, my friend. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It's been a long time coming. I think we've been talking about doing something together for like a year or so.
Yeah.
It's been nagging me, and finally I got my new gear to make myself sound good, and then I'm like, okay, I'm in. And then I put my makeup on and gave the old noggin a quick shave and hopped on the video.
Yeah, you look good, man. You sound real good.
Thank
I'm happy you have the setup and the equipment, and we'll definitely do this again sometime soon, for sure.
All right, man.
That's Glenn B. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good rest of the weekend, and we will see you next time. Deuces.